My patient became upset when I explained we needed extra help from other nurses to safely assist her after surgery. What could I have done differently? Hi, I'm a med-surg nurse, and last night I got assigned a new patient who, to put it mildly, came with a lot of challenges. She's in her 30s, around 450 pounds, and had just undergone major surgery. On top of that, she's a body positivity influencer and was adamant about recording her entire hospital experience. I had to explain to her several times that in our state, she couldn't record any of the hospital staff without their explicit consent. Needless to say, none of us were comfortable with that, especially considering the sensitivity of the medical environment, so we all declined. She was visibly frustrated but eventually agreed. Later, she needed to use the bedpan. Straightforward, right? Not quite. She couldn't lift her hips, and her legs were too wide for me to even attempt sliding the bedpan between them. I explained that we'd need to roll her to the side so I could place the bedpan underneath, and then she could roll back. She gave it a try, but the truth is, she barely moved. It became clear that we'd need more hands on deck to safely reposition her. At that moment, the only person available to assist me was our CNA, who also happened to be pregnant. Given the situation, I calmly explained to the patient that we didn't have enough staff free to help her roll right away. It was just me and the CNA, and honestly, there was no way I was going to risk either of us getting hurt, especially not someone who's expecting. I told her we'd need to wait until more staff were available. That's when things took a turn. She huffed loudly, her annoyance rising, and demanded to know why the two of us couldn't just roll her right then and there. I tried to remain professional, explaining again that it wasn't just about her, it was about protecting our health too. The risk of back injury was too high, and it would be much safer to have a team help out. Her response? Anger. She said I'd hurt her feelings and insisted on speaking with my charge nurse. In her eyes, I was treating her differently because of her weight, as if her dignity didn't matter. But this wasn't about judgment, it was about safety, plain and simple. Eventually, my charge nurse came, and we assembled a team to help roll her. During the process, my charge nurse made it clear to the patient that while we understood her frustration, our well-being wasn't up for negotiation. No matter how she felt, none of us could afford to get injured just to spare her feelings. The tension in the room was palpable, but we did what we had to do. Afterward, the patient remained visibly upset, and I could tell she still blamed me for the situation. She continued to express how I had belittled her and acted without empathy. Feeling the weight of her accusation, I offered her the number for filing a formal complaint. In all honesty, these complaints don't tend to go anywhere, but I wanted to give her an outlet. I had nothing to hide. Now, here's where I'm torn. I understand her perspective. No one wants to feel like they're a burden, especially someone with a public platform dedicated to self-empowerment. But what she didn't seem to understand was the moral dilemma on my end. As a nurse, I am bound to care for my patients, but I also have an obligation to protect myself and my coworkers. Could I have phrased things differently? Maybe. But at the end of the day, was I wrong to prioritize our physical safety over sparing her feelings? That's where I'm struggling. It's a tricky situation. On one hand, we are trained to show compassion and care for everyone, regardless of their circumstances. On the other, our health and safety matter just as much. This patient clearly felt her dignity was being challenged, but the reality was that we were facing an entirely different challenge, one that could have lasting consequences if not handled carefully. That's the situation I found myself in, trying to balance my patient's needs with the safety of my team. I know it's not easy to hear that more help is needed, but sometimes we have to prioritize everyone's well-being, including our own. I'd love to hear what you think. Was I in the wrong, or did I make the right call? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and let's discuss. Thanks for listening, and I'll catch you in the next one.